Good morning, everyone. Here it's a Sunday, and it's a scrutinizing Sunday because today we're going to scrutinize what I'm doing with my life. For real, guys. Welcome aboard the ship of Sam Stevenson. We're going to be talking about how I am obsessed with construction. And in addition to that, I'm going to be talking about how I'm trying to run a business and hopefully how it works. That's the idea. So far, so good. We're still here. If you ever see me streaming from my car, you will know that I'm still trying, but I haven't quite figured it out yet because I've been kicked out of my apartment. But hey, one thing at a time, folks. So, yeah, guys, my name is Sam Stevenson. There's a mic. I have been obsessing about construction for the past about 5 years of my life. And I'm today going to be giving you my inside thoughts, information, strategy plan on how I am building the best design firm that is ever going to exist. Week by week, we take it one shot at a time. So I'm going to fill you guys in on how that works. But my background is in structural engineering. I went to school for manufacturing engineering, spent a bunch of time designing houses structurally and stuff like that. And so I am very involved in the design world, and I'm going to be giving you all of the juicy details on what goes on in this world. And so we're going to take some skills, some software, and we're going to combine them with some sales, and we're going to generate money from nothing. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool how business works, folks. And so if you want to learn how you can possibly take some of these skills, adapt them to whatever it is that you're doing, come on in and the water's fine. I promise. Running a business, starting a business is very stressful and difficult, but we're here to talk about it. We're here to have a good time. So just listen right up. By the end of this stream, hopefully you guys are going to have a better understanding for how design industry works in general, how I am going to be approaching growth, how I am going to be managing all of those things, and some of the business lessons and things that I talk about in here more than likely can adapt or can be applied, including like personal lessons if those come up. But those things can be applied to your own life as well. So come on board for the ride. That's what we're doing. So you're going to know my strategy. You're going to know what I'm actually going to be doing to move forward. Because remember, guys, if you don't do anything, you don't go anywhere. So let's do some stuff. And if you got questions, feel free to throw them in the chat because we're here to chat, guys. Speaking of chatting, we got one already, Mr. Wyatt MG. Good morning, sir. How's the weather out there in good old California? It's muggy and humid, and like it's trying to become fall here in Texas, but it's just not quite doing it. It's just like this gross mix of like lukewarm humidity, at least where I'm at. So hopefully we get some nice cool morning days. I'm looking forward to the winter because we got a pool here at this apartment complex, and I'm ready for that sucker to get cold because I happen to be a fan of cold water. And that's what I'd have to say about that. But you actually have access to even colder water being right on the coast of the country, which is awesome. So that's good to have. But yes, we're here to make money. Money, you say. Yes, money is it is the manifestation of value and energy and things that solve people's problems. So when people say, I want to make money, it's like, well, I don't love the money itself, but I love the fact that I'm solving a problem. And like Elon Musk says, you get paid in proportion to the complication of you get paid in proportion to the size of problem you solve. Something like that. I'm paraphrasing. Starting to become fall was cold deer hunting last night. That's excellent. Where you were cold deer hunting last night. Now I'm not a hunting guy myself. I do love the idea of hunting, killing things. The other day when we had our IRL meetup, we actually used darts and we hunted the kolaches that we were eating. So that's a good time. We have another hunt planned for the next IRL meetup. I won't let out the secret on what it is exactly that we're going to do, but there is a hunt planned. It involves different implements and different food, but it's going to happen. So cold deer hunting. That's pretty nifty. Is that where you like go to refrigerators and like find the deer meat where it's cold? I'd be curious to know what the difference is between cold deer hunting and hot deer hunting. Or if it's like Cold-blooded. I don't know. Anyway, good to see you, my friend. Good to have you in the chat. Let's get learning. We got some stuff to get through today. No, it was just cold while I was out there. Oh, got it. Okay. Cold. Well, I hear it's hard to hunt deer while you're doing jumping jacks and stuff to stay warm, because that would kind of like make a commotion. So I'm sure you've got a good strategy to stay warm. Lots of good tech and weather gear out there these days. But we're going to get right into it now, folks. Okay. So, mistakes and lessons learned. There has been a lot of stuff going on this week. It's been a roller coaster of actions, reactions, trying to make things happen. And so I'm going to fill you in on what's going on here. So first of all, trading plans for goodwill / copyright. I'm going to be talking a little bit today. Actually, I'm talking a lot today about copyright because of some stuff that I heard about. Initially, at the beginning of the week, I was on a few phone calls with people, and some people don't want to share their plans with, like, so if I'm making models, some architects be like, no, don't give him the plan, because then like he'll have the plan, and they like really tightly control who sees the documents for various reasons. And we're going to get into that, but ran into that trying to make models for people. And so that's one concept we're going to talk about. But in terms of like actual mistakes and lessons made, so I don't remember if I talked about this last week or not, but I messed up a bunch of prints because on the 3D printer, because I'd been touching the plate too much, and the plate's naturally coated with like a super good plastic for like bonding, but also releasing. I don't know how it works, but if you get human finger oil and stuff on it, it does not work. And so found that out last week, I think, and solved that problem. I had used rubbing alcohol. And then because I've read a forum and a bunch of people were saying that it worked, I was like, okay, I'll do that. What I should have done is I should have just gone to the manufacturer of the plate and read their instructions on how to maintain it and keep it clean. And sure enough, there's notes in there on how to, like, yes, it will start not working well if it's got a buildup of like finger oil on it. And here's how to clean it off. And the actual way to clean it off is with degreasers, like dish soap, right? And water, not rubbing alcohol. They said if you use rubbing alcohol, more than like, and I'm not a chemical expert on like how things clean, so I'm just taking my word for it because I got it from somewhere else, and one of them didn't work and one of them did. So I used rubbing alcohol. It worked okay, but they said if you do that, you're basically just pushing the oils around. You're not like pulling them up off the plate. And so I was like, that makes sense to me. So let's combine some soap and water. I cleaned it all off, and then perfectly every time after that, zero problems. So that was good news. So we solved that. Don't use rubbing alcohol, water and soap only. So I had one particular person who wanted a model that I gave one for free. It arrived and it was a big house. I think this thing was 7,000 or 8,000 square feet. And it was single story. Like most of the stuff we do here is single story because people like huge foundations and not climbing stairs, I guess. So they have this, like, it was spread out really far. And so to fit it in my printer, I actually had to scale it down a lot higher than I normally would. I normally do basically 1 to 127, but this was like 1 to 150 or something. Anyway, it made the whole thing much smaller by scale, but it's like the same size as all the other ones. So when I sent it to them, they liked it. It was good. They thought it was small, and not necessarily in a bad way, but like they were expecting it to be bigger or whatever. So awaiting feedback on like if people want these to be bigger or what. I mean, I'm open to like changing potential ideas. If they start making them bigger, I'm going to have to print out multiple chunks and glue together, and like it's going to get more complicated and expensive and whatever. But we're at the beginning of this stage, so whatever. We'll just keep all doors open. But anyway, that was some feedback. The other thing I learned that was very problematic, which caused much of the roller coaster that this week was, I'm over here trying to like sell and get people's attention and do all this stuff and make connections. Meanwhile, the product I'm producing is failing. So what happened was the first yellow flag or red flag I got, if you want to consider it that, is I went out to my car because I had left. Oh, I actually got a big bag of them right here. So I got these shopping bags and I put the models in here and like that's how I go hand them out. So I just like carry them around, right? So here's a model of this particular person's house. And so what I do is I leave them in here and then I left them in the car because like they don't need to be in my house. They need to be going out into the world either to UPS or being hand delivered. And I was like, oh, okay, let me like bring this thing in because I was swapping it out with I had just switched to cardstock as the base, which is way more effective and sticks to the plastic way better. So we're sticking with that cardstock as a base. And it also eliminates the laminating process. So I don't have to do that anymore, which is great. So I swapped it out in my car and I brought the original one in. I was like, oh, well, I'll put this one on my wall instead of the other one because I make two every time. One goes on my wall, one goes out. And I looked at it and the thing was all twisted and warped. And I was like, I'm not what, why? And I was like, oh, crud. It was probably the car got really hot. I was like, okay, cars get really hot. I get it. No fun. So I put it on the wall anyway, because no one's going to see it but me. And that was the first little flag in my head. I was like, uh-oh, something's not right here. And the next one was one of the people got theirs delivered and they sent me a photo and were like, hey, this is great. Thank you. But like, look, the garage door warped a little bit here. And I was like, oh no. And what I learned was that when it's hot outside and UPS trucks are just doing their regular UPS delivery, it gets hot in the UPS truck. And I'm sure it makes your package get hot too. So I was discovering that most of the models that I had sent out that people got were warped in some way because I'd been doing this. It's been pretty hot in here while I've been doing this. We haven't quite gotten into fall yet. And so I actually went back and looked at a previous model. One of the builders got one and he was like, oh, this is so great. Like, can't wait to get more of these in the future. Awesome. And somebody that I already work with for design. And I looked closer at the photo because I originally didn't look that close at the photo because I was like, oh, he took a picture of it. Great. But I looked a lot closer and the thing had delaminated from the plastic and it had started twisting and warping. And I was like, oh my gosh, they're all doing this. This is a problem. And so instantly I was like, I got to do something. I got to do something else. And so all these people have been contacting them to be like, all right, hey, this is a problem, known problem. I'm trying to figure out how to solve this right now. And so the first thing I thought was, okay, well, I'm making these and that process already works. So like, how can I ship them differently? Is that a thing I could do? So there's refrigerated shipping. There's shipping in insulated packages. You could add like cold packs. There's all kinds of ways to like overcome the heat problem when you're shipping something, but additional costs, right? And I'm making these for free. And it's not actually free. I'm paying for the shipping and I'm paying for the plastic every time I'm making these. Now the plastic and the paper and like that's not much, but the shipping adds up when it's, $15 to $30 every time I ship one. And so now all of a sudden, instead of $15 to $30, it's going to be a much more expensive box. Plus it's going to be bigger. So it's just going to push the shipping price up. And so I can't do a bunch of these for free and like keep going. I was like, oh crap. Okay. I can't do that. Can I make it out of another plastic? Because there's all kinds of plastics you can use with 3D printing. And so I did a little bit of research, looked into what kinds of plastics I could use, and found out that both ABS and ASA were higher temperature resistant plastics that don't warp under temperature loads. And I was like, okay, cool. Now I knew that ABS was harder to print, but I had no context for how much harder to print it was. And so if you want a plastic that's not going to melt when it gets warm, it's because the plastic has a higher glass transition temperature, which means it's just like it can get hotter before it gets soft or liquid. All right. And the good news about that is that it won't melt when it gets hot. The bad news about that is that you have to get it hotter to melt it. And because it gets hotter to melt it, there's a larger difference between when it's being printed and when it's cold in terms of its like temperature change. And with that comes shrinkage and all the problems associated with that. And so I did a whole bunch of stuff this week. You'll see it all over my stories. And I put it in my Instagram. I think I highlighted them all and threw them in the highlight folder. So if you want to see the journey that I went on, it's all in there. But basically, the printer that I got was non-enclosed. It was the bare bones. This is all I need to print for this plastic. Great. You know, the problem with printing the AESA was I couldn't get the enclosure temperature correct. At first, it was just like there's too much airflow. It's too cold because there was no enclosure. And the idea is like you want the plastic to stay warmer while it's printing, and then when it's all done, it'll all cool down together and you'll be okay. But the problem I had was that I didn't have an enclosure. So I first tried using paper to like kind of block the air in, or at least block the drafts. That was not sufficient. So I went to Home Depot and walked around Home Depot for a while because I love Home Depot. And then I actually bought the thing I went there for, which was 1 inch of polyiso foam backed rigid insulation. I made a cube out of that on all sides, basically put the printer in it, closed it all up, and printed, trying to keep the temperature higher. And what I did was I ended up getting the temperature too high. And one of the things that happens when you get the temperature too hot inside your enclosure is like it's potentially bad. It's going to wear on your belts more. It's going to be like potentially hard on the electronics. But the other thing that happens is like the printer loses some of its calibration and it like needs to home itself a whole bunch. And so I found out because I was like doing a bunch of weird stuff and I was like, oh, what's going on? And turns out like I had no way of monitoring the temperature inside this thing. I just let it warm up and it was very well air sealed and insulated. So it got a little toasty and I was still not able to get the print to come out correctly after 2 full attempts. And like let's be real, 2 attempts is not that many attempts to do something correctly. However, time is a function here. And every time I print one of these, I don't know if it's going to work until the end. And I'm losing about 2.5 hours, which is a lot of time when you're trying to like make every second count where you're at with me. So I decided that, okay, this enclosure thing is like, this is just not working. And so I was not able to quickly resolve the problem. And so I decided I'm going to change my strategy. All right. So I'm not going to print with ASA. I got rid of the plastic. I got rid of the enclosure. I know I can print with this PLA plastic every time. Like no problems there. I can produce the thing. And so what I'm thinking is, all right, well, now at least in the wintertime, okay, it doesn't matter that much. Everybody's happy. In the summertime, it will become more cost prohibitive to sell these because they're just going to be more expensive to ship. So, excuse me. So basically, I had to think of a way that this thing needs to be more worth it. And this thing is an add-on to the fact that I draw plans. That's what this is meant to be. And so it's not like I was considering like making these for builders and stuff like that. And like I still am because like I want to build the network, build goodwill, help people out and get better at my process, refine my process because I still suck. But the point was that there needs to be more value in this thing than what it already has. And I'll show you here so that we can get a little example. So this thing is very valuable for a lot of reasons. It's showing scale of ceiling height. It's showing like floor plan. It's showing all these windows and doors and openings and stuff like that. Like you see all those wonderful things. Like that's all great. This really helps people see a house when they are designing it or about to build it. Between the builder, the owner, and the designer, all those things. So that's great. The other thing you can do is you can actually take a flashlight and like point it at this thing and run the sun path through the sky at like summertime or wintertime. And you can actually see what the sunlight will do on your walls. So like if you got a TV wall and you want to like think about, hey, where's the sun going to be? it's perfect for that too. So there's lots of great things that these are accomplishing. But there needs to be more, right? We want more better. And so what I'm thinking is what we're going to do is I've got some models I'm working on right now, and this is something I got to take care of this week. I want to include with this a twin bed, queen bed, and king size bed for every bedroom. All the furniture that would be in here, the island, I want to put all the cabinets in. I want to put all the shelving in, maybe. And I want also little small figurines for like people. And I want to include all those little parts because it costs me almost nothing to make the parts because they're so tiny. It's like the material cost is almost nothing. If I can what I'm basically doing is I'm making doll houses. That's what's happening here, guys. And so if I do that and people like that and I can add a little bit of extra value by doing that, then this becomes a more valuable thing. And like, who knows where that would go at some point? Maybe it becomes like, hey, you've got your custom home in a box kind of thing. You know, your kids can play with the dolls or whatever it is you want to do. But anyway, that's the idea. And so I'm going to add more value to this thing. I'm going to constantly try to add more value to the plans. And we're going to try to overcome the barrier that is the cost of shipping this and keeping it cool, because I just think that's a better path than trying to figure out this other plastic. And so one of the things I did recently is I made this sucker. I printed this. I didn't make this. These are free things that people, make on the internet, and you can just grab the files and print them. And we're going to talk about how that's relevant to design, but they're just like little drawers, right, that store parts. And so I'm going to start putting parts in this, and we're going to use it. The last 4 are still printing right now on the printer. But cool thing about having a 3D printer is that it just makes you stuff. You're like, oh, I need a thing. Go find it and print it out, and you have a thing now. It's like it's pretty nice. So I do have to recommend that for those reasons. But so that's where we're at with the models. And I would like to use this moment to make a parallel to something that Hormozi talks about, or has just talked about with his, I think his chief financial officer. And what she says is that every business has shit. They've all got shit. And if you are in a business and you are finding something to be particularly difficult, you have to understand, and you see another like different business model or different product or different thing, it's going to look shiny and attractive and like, oh, that thing's probably easier and better. I'll go do that instead. Well, what you're going to find out is that thing also has shit. You just don't know what it is. And so it's oftentimes a higher leverage move to try to figure out the shit that you have and like get better at doing the thing, more and better. So that's the strategy. So I'll be honest, when I started making these and everybody I was talking to was like, oh my gosh, these are so cute. I want one. Get me one. I want one. I was like, wow, in my head, I was thinking, what happens if I do that and I generate a bunch of demands for these, but I don't generate demand for my plans and my design work? Then I end up basically turning into somebody who makes a bunch of models. And like, that's a different business. And as a reminder, the shit that's involved with this is all the shit that's involved with scaling, manufacturing, and like real products and fulfillment and shipping and like all this other crap that I don't deal with if I'm just drawing plans. And so it was a fresh, healthy slap in the face reminder that like, hey, don't get distracted by this thing. This is a great value added for a lot of reasons, but this is not the thing. This is the thing. Okay. So let's keep that in mind. So if you've got a thing, stay focused on what your thing is. Don't forget your thing. Let's check out the chat here, guys. Centurion 54X. Welcome, Mr. 54 Cent. Good to see you. LOL. Hot deer hunting is when you bring girls in bikinis. Ah, yes. That would be different. I don't find that it's beneficial to combine hot women with fun man activities. Generally, like, they're just 2 totally different environments. But hey, who knows? So Mr. Wyatt, mass print all those parts and just organize them so you can just pick and place. Exactly. Yeah, pick and place. That's the idea. Exactly correct, Mr. Wyatt. So we're going to mass print all those things. We're going to pick and place. It costs almost nothing to just like throw them in as part of a package, put them in the bag, ship it with the thing. It takes almost nothing. And so lots of extra value, minimal extra work, AKA higher leverage. That's what we want, is the leverage. So exactly. Mr. Wyatt is on the ball. He's got his mind in the right spot. So at the beginning of the week, I started out and I was in the zone of trying to maximize the leads that I already had in Texas. I had accumulated all the data. There's like 1,200 or something total builders listed on builders associations lists in all of Texas. And I had accumulated all that data, at least builder name and phone number. And I moved it out of phone burner. I shut down the phone burner, moved it all into ClickUp where I do my project management. And then I started managing those leads individually. And I was like, I need every single one of these. If they're a real builder and they're a person, I need to get their attention. How do I do that? Well, the phone calls for one reason or another didn't work. So I went through all the warmest leads and I got some good follow-ups. If I basically email, text, website submission, social media reach out. Those were pretty much the extra things that I did on top of the cold calls that I was attempting in the beginning. And I didn't actually cold call anybody this week. I just went through these lists. I went to the website. I found out all of the ways to contact them. And I sent out pretty much the same message, which was, I'll make you one of these for free. And I'm a real human. So that's what I was up to because I'm trying to get people's attention. And so that was going okay. That is mind-numbing work because it's just copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste all day long. And I could do about 120 a day when it's that many steps per person. And so it's like it would more than a week to get through all of the leads that I have. And so one of the things that I found out as I went through this process, because we learn by doing, and then we either change course or adapt, and that's what we do. That's how we move forward. We just do. We do the next input. So originally what I was doing was I was thinking, okay, I want all the information for all these builders. And so I went through, I found the company, I'd find their email, I'd find all the phone numbers, I'd find all the ways to contact them, and I would store that data in my ClickUp connected to the lead. So I got all the data. It's like, great. Well, I quickly learned that I don't need all the data. I need the data of the people that actually care about me and contact me back. I don't need anybody else's data. I only need to try the reach out, get the data that I need to make that happen. And if they message me back, I was literally, for every single person, I would also try the text thing. You send a text and sometimes the office number is not a cell. And so you'll just get a kickback saying, hey, this is not a number. You can't do this. Be like, okay. But every person, at least on my warm lead list, I was adding the contact to my phone with the name and the builder name or just the builder name, which was more work. And I quickly decided that I'm only going to add the contacts that text me back or the ones that want something because I'm spending a bunch of time making a bunch of contacts on my phone that I'm not using. So don't get more data than you need when you're doing this stuff. Only what you need to solve the problem, and then you can adapt from there. So a little bit of a lesson there. One of the problems that I'm dealing with through that method, however, is that it's a little bit I won't say it's less stressful. Cold calling is a little bit more stressful because you're dealing with direct rejection across a phone. So it's just hurts a little more or whatever if you're still into that or still affected by that. But it's definitely more personal. But this is a lot less personal. And the problem with it being personal or not personal is that it's easier. And easier means everybody else is going to do it. And the problem with everybody else doing it is that it creates the massive tidal wave of spam that exists whenever any person has a website or any place where their information is listed. Guess what? Now everyone's going to try to contact you and they're going to try to do it the easy way. So while I did my best to try to copyright my language in such a way that it makes it clear I'm just a person, I'm just trying to literally give you something for free. Like, it's actually free. I'm not going to charge you. You're not going to pay anything. Like, it's just, I was trying that whole idea. I wasn't getting more than 1%, like, which is not terrible for like lead generation and stuff like that, but it was not very effective. And what I was finding that like every now and then I got, here's what broke the ice. Here's what like got me. Some of them have worked. It's like, okay, well, if it works kind of, then let's just do more of it. That's all it takes. We just got to do more. And so I was having that mentality and I was going through that. And, at some point I might go back and just do the more. I just do the whole rest of the list. That way I know I've done it. I know I tried. I can try something else in addition later, but at least I tried. So the problem, losing my train of thought. Oh, that's right. Was the spam barrier. My message, while genuine, is being lost in all of the hundreds of thousands of emails that other people are trying to sell their stuff as well. And while everybody else's thing is not nearly as valuable as my thing, people are not getting the message, or they're disregarding the message, or it's being filtered out by a spam filter or something. So yeah, it's a lot easier work to do all the messaging methods, but the information is just getting lost. And so I had one guy, what broke it for me was that I had one guy and I sent him the text, and I swear my text, I'm sending a photo of a bunch of these things. Like, what do I need to do? Include my face? Maybe. Again, the first thing is the hook. I just need them to, I need to get their attention so they know that it's not junk. It's actual value. But that's the hardest part. And I had one guy text me back, stop. And all I did was send him the photo and the starter and like the basic text that was like very human sounding, just like, hey bro, do you want one of these? Something like that, right? Just whatever. And when he did that, I was like, this man thinks I'm a robot. And he's doing the reply stop to stop getting the messages thing. And it's like, dude, I'm not. This is an iPhone. This is a human being. And so at that point, I was like, this is not getting me the leverage that I need. And so let's change gears. And so what I did is I started doing a bunch of these. Don't worry, I'll show you. I've got a bag here. And this bag is filled with all of these. These are all the same. It's this guy. I picked a floor plan that was pretty and cool, and I liked it, and it was like easy to cut out and didn't give me any printing problems ever. And I'm making a bunch of these. And on the back is my information on a sticker. And I was like, screw you guys, I'm going home. So I started printing a bunch of these out. And I was like, all right, we're doing it in person. We're going to be the traveling salesman. And so I went around College Station and was handing these out. And I had 6 conversations. I handed out 6 of these. And I got more value out of doing 6 of these in person than 100, 200, 300 messages out into the world. I accomplished the mission. I got the message there. I got like the builder, the owner is going to see this thing because I delivered it. It's going to be shown to him. And if he's like, oh, I don't want it. It's like, great. Then I didn't want to make one for you if you didn't want it anyway. That's what I wanted. Just tell me yes or no, but just tell me. Don't leave me out here wondering, guys. So that was way more effective. And so I'm going to do more of that. I've got a big list. Obviously, I'm going to start locally because that's more efficient. So I'm going to do all of that as much as I can. And the other benefit about the local is that I can actually deliver these by hand in my air-conditioned car. And I can be like, hey, I'm going to put a warning sticker on the bottom of these. Be like, hey, don't let this thing sit in a hot car. Disclaimer. So I'm going to start doing that with the little pieces included so that it's like cuter and people can, here's the thing about the furniture is people could take like the the bed size, be like, all right, let's go put the bed in like the master bedroom. It's going to sit by the windows, like right here. And you can like see the scale. You'd be like, oh, a king size bed with these windows looks like this. I don't like that. Let's adjust it. Right. How valuable is this, guys? Anyway, so mostly it's the women. I'm not going to lie. Like a lot of women see this and they're like, oh my God, it's so cute. And I'm like, yes, it is so cute. Do you want one? I'll make one. Anyway, so there's a lot of people that like just have a hard time generally visualizing in 3D, unlike builders can. And yeah, I'm not selling this to you guys. I'm just saying, like, this is what people are saying. So I'm gonna do the in-person thing. I'm gonna move forward with that. We're gonna see how far that gets me. I am still surviving. I'm still not homeless. I am not streaming out of my car yet. But guess what? If I end up streaming out of my car, I'm going to be streaming out of my car and I'm not going to stop because I know where I'm going and it's to the moon, baby. Wait, which way's up and right? Up and to the right. It's that way for you guys. We're going that way. Just in line with the lightning bolt. That's what we're doing. And you guys are coming along with me because you're my friends. All right. So that's the spam barrier. That's the update with the outbound. That's how that's going. The cold calling is probably great. I could have probably tweaked the cold calling strategy, been like, all right, every person is going to get 2 immediate phone calls back to back. Because like oftentimes if you do that and people are like, oh, it's your area code and they call you again, people are like, oh, I should probably answer this. It might be urgent. It might actually be important. So if you can get them on the phone, you could do that better. And you decrease the frequency. So like you could do 3 calls first day, 2 calls second day, 1 call third day. They're not picking up the phone. They're not going to pick up the phone. I could have done that and improved the cold call. Otherwise, it's going to be in person. I think those are the 2 things I'm going to end up sticking with. And I have gotten leads from the emails and texts and stuff. I think I've gotten 2 total from people that did not get my message any other way. Like they didn't pick up the phone and establish contact first. So like it kind of works. It's just how efficient is it? Which one's getting me the most leverage? I want to do that one. So we're figuring that out. But here is the talk, guys. We're going to have the talk. Copywriting and illegal things. I've been breaking the law. So I've learned. And so what that means is I have been unknowingly violating people's copyrights, basically, is what that means. And here's how. All right. So let's talk a little bit first about like what is a copyright and how is it applied? So the person who designed this house, the person who said, I want the floors here, I want the walls here, I want the bedrooms here, the bathrooms here, the ceiling's gonna be this tall here. Like the person who put this product together is an artist, if you want to call it that. And they are entitled to the intellectual property that is this design. Now, here I am showing you on the internet their design, but also like, what are you going to do with this? You can't make anything out of this. So there's that. But because people are entitled to that copyright, they own the design itself. And basically what that means is if somebody else sees the design and they like it, excuse me again, they can't use it unless they have permission from the person who came up with the design. That's basically what it means. You do not have to apply for copyright. By creating it, you have created the copyright. Now, if you were to back up your copyright in court, you'd have to prove that you created it. Documentation, and you can like register all your designs and stuff. But that being said, here's how most of the design industry works. The people who are very particular or anal or whatever word you want to use about how special their design is. This is my intellectual property. And I say it in that voice because those are the kinds of people that care about intellectual property. They are entitled to their own designs and thoughts, and those are unique, and that's great. But the world is going to walk all over you because if you post an image of like a marketing floor plan is typically a floor plan that shows all the walls and the room labels, but it has no dimensions. It has no window sizes. It has no information that could help somebody build the house. It's scaled, right? But it's designed to show people a layout. And so frequently, I would argue 80 to 90% of the design industry and people building houses is people who go on websites, they go online, they go to other designers' plans, they find a picture, and they're like, I like this floor plan. I like this layout. Please draw this for me, but I would like to change this little thing and this little thing. Otherwise, it's perfect. I like it. That's what most people do. And it's illegal because you are taking the design of someone else, copying it, and making it yours by using it. And the reason I say make it yours is because most people who do this and put the copyright information on their plans, what they say is, you may use my design one time on this one property for this one project. You may not copy it. You may not reproduce it. You may not do anything with it unless you have my permission. And what does that mean? That means if you give me money in the future, most likely, like some people probably share their copyright, they give it away, whatever. Friends and family, all that kind of stuff. But if you use this without my permission, I can sue you for like lost profit, lost damages, whatever, all those words of people that somehow like need to extract all the value out of their thing. So here's my take. Is a copyright fair? Right? So one of the things, if you Google and like look up all this stuff with copyright, the language they're using is like, it's irritating is what it is. And the way they describe it is the designer has a right to be paid fairly for their hard work in creating this plan. That sounds nice, doesn't it? Sounds nice. And what it does is it produces a massive entitlement mentality to anybody who creates anything worth value. Now, like, this is, I'm sure, like, I'm not saying if your musician puts a few notes together in a way that makes people happy that like they shouldn't claim right to that because like they created it, whatever. Like in the world of people who create or artist or design, like design music, whatever it is. Yeah, there's some like give and take here. But I would argue in this case, when you reserve your plan to only be used once and you want to retain it as your intellectual property, I have so many things to say about this. First of all, you are most likely not capable of coming up with anything unique. And when I say unique, I mean there's nothing new under the sun. Architecture, I highly recommend people read The Fountainhead by Ayn Rand. It's about architecture and talks a lot about this concept. Architecture is this world of taking, hey, someone did a cool thing 200 years ago, and we're going to sprinkle a little bit of that on this house. Or, hey, someone did a cool thing 10 years ago. We're changing the shapes of things. Like there are new concepts in terms of like, well, that material's never been used before, or it's never been used in that way, or whatever, right? Improvements, if you want to call them that, in space and design and all this stuff. But like go to any one individual designer, and I almost guarantee you that like most of what they're able to do is their brain recombining everything that's already existed. And yes, they make something new from that. But like, eat a slice of humble pie, in my opinion. Like, there's only so many ways you can rearrange bedrooms, living rooms, and bathrooms. I'm sorry. That's like, got to calm down here. So anyway, the issue that I have with it is that, it's not an issue. I will just do things differently myself. And other people are entitled to do what they would like. And honestly, that's going to be to my advantage later. And I'll explain why. When somebody wants to claim their idea and retain it, what they're trying to do is create an asset. They're saying, hey, my idea is my asset. And my asset, I want it to make me money later when I've already made it. That's what they want when they retain their copyright. That's the whole point. They want people to come to them and say, hey, I like your idea. I would like to use it. And they say, okay, then like either design with me and pay me money, or pay me a fee, and you will be allowed to like modify this design one time somewhere else. Now, here's the problem with that, is that any derivative of a copyrighted idea is still owned by the original person who created the idea. So let's say I'm a designer and someone goes and they get approval from the original designer or architect on a plan to go modify it. As in terms of copyright law, they own the original copyright on the idea. And so if I modify it, it's not my idea or the client's idea. It's the original architect's idea. So like in terms of ownership, you can never like pass on that value. Like the only way you can create designs and have them be yours is to take ideas and inputs from a bunch of different places and like start with basically a blank piece of paper or blank computer screen, whatever. We don't do this on paper anymore, right? And like start from there. That is how you create original designs. And when I say original, I mean the original to the person's brain designing it. And like I said before, nothing's original. All I'm doing is I'm thinking about all of the hundreds of thousands of plans I've seen and being like, oh, I like this. I like this. I like this. Let's modify this. Oh, let's tweak this. Like that's what I mean when I say original. That's all I'm talking about. So, all the time, people copy these things. They go online. They're like, oh, I like that thing. And here's how it works. And I can tell you because I've been doing it. Yes, here I am reporting myself. Nobody sue me because they don't have any money, so you're not going to get anything. The person finds a plan they like, they take it to a builder, and they're like, hey, I want to tweak this. And I'll be honest, there is a gray area where you can take something that already exists that you like and be like, I like this about this, I like this about this, and I like this about this. Create me something new from these ideas. But like the important part is that you're not copying like the shape and the form. So there's definitely a gray area. And, so it's like what matters is the end product. So I could take this floor plan that I have that's great. I could draw on top of it and create the exact same thing and then be like, okay, now how am I going to twist this whole thing and rearrange this whole thing so that it's like a new idea, right? As long as the end product is substantially different than this, it doesn't matter that I started from this. All that matters is that like the end product is the same or it's not the same. And that's honestly up to the like speculation of whoever's like doing the judgment if this ends up in court or whatever. But so here's the thing. Back to the whole thing about the money. People make the plans because they want the future money. I think like selfishness is the only word that comes to mind, right? Lack of abundance. Let's frame it this way. This is how I'm going to frame this. If I create a great plan with my ingenuity in my brain from scratch, what does it cost me to produce the plan? Well, technically, it cost me all the years of experience and stuff I've accumulated, all the time I've spent doing all that to get all the information so that I can make this plan. But that aside, it cost me my time and some overhead, a little bit of overhead to like design stuff, to draw the plan and produce the product. That is the cost. When people are trying to sell a plan they made 2 years ago or sell the rights to it, what they're trying to do is extract more value out of the thing they already created once. Okay? So what they're doing is they're saying, hey, somebody paid me to make this plan one time. I got paid this much. It was this much. I got paid this much hourly. Whatever the numbers work out, there was a number. And so what they want to do is they want to sell it again without doing more work. And what that does is it takes the extra money over here and it goes back to this and it pushes this effective dollar value up. So it's like, oh, like that's how I got more leverage for my time in the past. And what that does is it allows you to create higher leverage situations for yourself. More money per less time. That's what I mean by leverage. Higher dollar per hour value. So that's what they're trying to do. And the funny part about that is that whatever this rate was is like determined by that transaction's value and that client and their ability to sell. Okay. So if I said, hey, I'm going to design this for $2 a square foot, and the customer agrees, okay, $2 per square foot, that is setting the market value of the product because both parties agreed, and therefore in a free society, that's the value of the product. Now, there's going to be some required time input from the designer to make the product. Therefore, there is some dollar value per time assigned to that designer that he is accepting by doing that. If he wants more leverage, then he either needs to get better at selling, create a better product, or both. Because I would argue that's the better way to do it. Because, like, think about it this way. I have a plan that I drew. I didn't draw this, but I have a plan I came up with 2 years ago. And when I say plan, I mean it's a PDF. It's sitting in a file on a computer somewhere. Somebody hits me up online because I show a picture of the marketing plan. And they're like, hey, I love this plan. Could I use it? Like, I don't want to change anything. It's perfect. Can I use it? And there's always disclaimers for like, hey, the code's different in different places. You got to like watch out for this, that, and the other. But like, what does it cost me to give them the plan? Be like, oh, you like it? Well, it cost me the time to go open up my email, attach the file, and send it. That's what it cost me. Because we need to be concerned with our leverage like day to day, like one day at a time. My leverage is worth something right now because of what I'm capable of producing, right? I take my skills, I combine them with my technology, and I can make something that is worth something to the public at some value, some dollar value. That makes my time worth something. I would rather spend my time increasing my value production capability every plan than try to like backlog it and be like, well, yeah, like it's like imagine going to a market and you want to buy an apple and the guy selling the apples is like, hey, I got an apple farm. I spent all my hard time building this apple farm and I've got this apple for sale. and then you try to sell the same apple to two different people. Like, bro, just make a better apple and sell it for twice as much. What are you doing? Like, that doesn't necessarily work because apples aren't like copyable, but plans are. It costs me nothing. Once I've made it, it doesn't cost me anything. It's sitting there. What costs is my time to make the thing, or someone's time to make the thing. And like the cost associated with running a business. Those are costs. So let's pay for those things. And let's give away the thing that doesn't cost us anything. And in a great world, you would create a platform where people could, like, where you remove the one cost that exists. Right now, let's say it's just me. I'm just running this business. And I've got a plan sitting in a PDF in a folder somewhere, and they want it, and I've already created it once, and they like it, and they don't want to change it. Well, whose life is worse off by giving it to them, right? Just like, okay, so it does cost me something. You're going to distract me from something I'm doing, and I will take my time, which costs money, to stop what I'm doing and email you a thing. Let's say it takes 5 minutes. Okay. That is an interruption, and like that is a cost. If I have a platform, like a website, where all of this stuff is organized, and if you like it, you download it, it didn't take any time from me. It did in the beginning because I was willing to invest my time to build the website and like put everything in there and like, okay, yeah, every time I upload the plan to the website and change the website, that costs my time. Sure. But that's the job of the business owner. The job of the business owner is to make all these investments so they can build all this thing and create a value generating machine for the world that we live in. That is the point. And so I'll tell you what, if I've got a plan and I've created already, and it's not one of the ones that I've ripped off of somebody else, oops. And it's one of my original ideas because I don't want to like sell somebody else's idea or whatever. Like I've been made aware of an ethical situation, fine. I will operate within those bounds. I get it. I get why people are selfish and entitled to their ideas they think are original. Cool. I'm not, because I understand that I'm just a blob of human flesh moving around in this world, taking things that already exist and rearranging them. That's all I'm doing. I'm not special. So if I've got plans that already exist, I'm gonna figure out a way on like a platform. I'm gonna talk about my action steps later. I'll talk about this. But like, if you're watching this and you want a copyright-free full construction document that you can take to a builder and have them build it, and like, yeah, maybe you go like do some stuff with your code or like tweak a thing or here or two, whatever. You can have it. Right now, I don't have a method, so just send me an email or hit me up in the school server below. You can have it. Because I would rather build goodwill with you and help you at no cost to me than like everyone's better off when we do that. It's literally like called charity, right? If you want to put a label on it, right? And here's the funny part, is nothing's actually free. That's the real kick in the pants, is that if I'm giving away these things for free, I'm actually not giving them away for free. I'm giving them away at the price of your debt to me. And some people will disregard the debt, and that's okay. If you want to learn some stuff, I recommend you read the book Debt by someone, I don't remember the name of the author. Debt. It's not going to come up. Just look up the word debt. It's a great book, and it describes how like debt works with relationships between human beings. And it's like, I know if I give you something that's really actually valuable to you and you give me nothing, I haven't lost, because you have a debt to me now, and maybe you'll never repay it. But a percentage of those people will somehow. And there's all kinds of ways to give value. Maybe somebody gets a free plan from me and they didn't pay for it, and now they have a debt with me. A psychological debt is what I'm referring to. I'm not referring to it like a money debt. I'm never going to go after them for it because I've said, hey, stamped right here on the front of this plans, I claim no copy. That's not true. I claim copyright to these plans, but you can use it and you can copy it. And here's my signature. And I'm never going to sue you. And, right? Whatever you want to do. Okay. Yes, this is mine. And it's also mine to give to you. It's mine to give away. And the people that take those things and use them for value, guess what happened, by the way? And like some people can strip title blocks and whatever if they tweak stuff. Like some designers will strip a title block. Like, okay, I'm not going to lie. This is actually copying. What I do is I reproduce the same walls and then like I shift and I move a bunch of stuff. So I've never actually duplicated somebody else's plan. But the people that will literally take the plan, strip the title block off, which is my logo, my information, put theirs on it, and then move forward, like, okay, bro, like, whatever. Whatever. I hope you sleep well at night knowing that you, like, are not adding value to the world, basically. That's all you're doing. Anyway, like, just leave the title block on it. Doesn't really matter. But anyway, so let's say the title block remains. It's got my logo, my information, my connection. If people go and use it, then probably 20 to 30 different people are going to have their eyeballs on that information. So every time somebody uses something for free, guess what? I'm getting value if my information's on it. And you know what? Fine. You strip my information off. Somebody somewhere has a debt to me because they got this value. And at some point in their life, if they decide, oh, I want to go get more of this, or, oh, I want to change this or whatever, like I'm a long-term bet kind of person. I am happy to build psychological debts with most people because I want to invest in people in the long term. I'm not here to get something out of you short term. I want every single relationship that I make with people that are valuable to me to like grow and be good, you know? And I will probably not invest in people that are not valuable to me, but that's okay. We all do that. So what does that mean? Rapid Designs, do we care about copyright? Yes and no. I'm going to find a way this week, maybe today, to like put a new wording and a new thing on my plans. It's like, hey, this was my idea. If you want to call it my idea, you can use it as much as you like. All right. So tell your friends. That's you. I'm talking to you guys. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your coworkers, tell your fellow construction mates. Hey, there's a place we can get free construction plans if we like them. The whole document. And you know what? You can have the DWG. You can have the plan file. I use Chief Architect to do all my plans. And so there's like 3 file types. There's the PDF, which is what you print out to like build stuff. There's a DWG, which is like the CAD export file that shows all the line work. And then there's the actual .plan file and the .layout file, which contain the 3D model information, which is actually how I export like the models and print them. Okay. You can have all those plans. You can have all those files because once I've created them, it costs me nothing. And I can produce so much at such a high value that I don't need you to not steal from me. Okay, go. So that's my thought. Let's see. What else have I missed here? Check my notes. Yeah. Oh, here's another thing. Here's another value I can extract out of this, guys. Some people, if they come to me and they're like, I want to do a design, because I have known people that are really anal about their intellectual property. Okay, you do you. But if you come to me and you say, I'm going to put a design together, because like 99% of the time, people, the product is the designer's copyright. It doesn't matter if it was you saying, I would like you to change this door to this and this window to this. It's the designer's copyright because he's the one making it. Doesn't matter. Some people will be anal about that, and they will not work with someone who will not give the person the copyright. I know people who have done that. And they will like not you work with certain people for that reason. And so if somebody comes to me and they have that mentality of you are going to create my idea on paper, it's going to be great. And it's my copyrighted idea. You have no right to this plan after we're done with it. Guess what? I don't have to work with you. That's fine. If you are not willing to share your ideas with the world, then you are not an abundance mindset person. You are a scarcity mindset person. And those people suck the life and they suck the value out of everything around them. I want to be around people and great relationships with people that want to give value and then give value and then give value. That's what I want. I want people who can give so much value that they're okay. They don't need to take the value. So that's the point there. So, and so I can actually leverage this. I can leverage this to my benefit. And what that means is people all have guilt. People all experience shame, pride, the good feelings, generosity, like charity. Like it feels good to help someone and not get anything in return. I disagree with that premise. You're getting something in return. You're getting a feel good. Everybody's selfish. But that's okay. That's okay because we all operate that way. And so, if I'm willing to trade my thing for someone else's feel good, I'm a generous person. No. I'm willing to trade my thing for somebody else's to have it, and all I get is to feel good. That makes me a generous person. Well, people like to feel generous. People like to feel good. That's why the homeless guy on the side of the street gets money, is because you want to feel good that you helped him by giving him something that you had. That's why you do it. You are afraid of feeling the shame and the guilt of not helping them. Like, oh, I'm a terrible person because I didn't help them. And I'm not saying don't give money to homeless people. You do what you want. But if someone comes to me and they want a design and they say, and I tell them, I have a copyright to your design, first of all. And second of all, I'm going to give that away for free because I don't need to keep it for any reason. And so therefore, whatever you create with me or whatever ideas you fuel me with to draw and create something new, both of us together are going to create something valuable with our combined skills, experience, wants, knowledge, whatever. And then we're going to take that thing we've created and we're going to give it away to other people. And here's the mechanism by which I can leverage that. If I'm working with someone, and let's say 2 years ago, I designed a house with these people. I did this process. We agreed to everything. It was all, everyone's happy. 2 years later, somebody runs across that plan. And they're like, wow, this is a great plan. I would like to tweak this, or I would like to just copy it and whatever. And because I created it as the designer, I am legally allowed to modify my own design. And so I can do that. And then somehow, I haven't figured this out yet logistically, but somehow I can give the gift giving feel good back to the person who originally helped me with the design. I don't know if it's a card in the mail, if it's flowers, if it's chocolates, if it's just like letting them know with a text. It could be anything. It could be like, hey, here's a photo of me and this person, and like, here's this house they're going to go build. And they are able to do this because of your input. You made my life and their life better by agreeing to do this. I think people will love that. I think people would love the shit out of that because we all want to feel good. So, and like, who am I to not take advantage of that? Everybody feels good. Who loses here? They helped somebody out. They had an abundance mentality. Like, people, everybody wins if we're all abundant. We're all abundant mentality people. So I don't know how I'm going to leverage that yet, but yeah, I will make that a thing because humans, we want to be connected. Like we want to have that so badly. And so I'm going to create a world. I'm not kidding when I said I'm going to create the best design firm. People are going to be like, "Oh, I want free plans. I can get them from Rapid Designs." And like, you know what? If they want to tweak something, and like, then guess what? They're more inclined to come back to a company that shows the goodwill up front and be like, "Hey, this is all free." Like, and also, you see this lightning bolt here? We also happen to be the fastest design company in the West. That's right. Numero uno. So I build a system and a strategy and a company revolving around speed. People are going to be incentivized to take this thing that's mostly free, get it turned around really fast, and they're going to get a really valuable thing for less money than it would have originally cost to create it the first time. Everybody wins. Total value in the world goes up. That's what I want to build. I want to build a company that is prioritized around efficiency, making sure these things come out right, quality, like communication, like all these things, so that when people have the option, it's kind of like, I'm not going to lie here, guys. It's kind of like genuine desire, right? I'm not going to go heavy into this, but like as a man, I want to be with a woman who genuinely wants to be around me for no other reason than she's just like, I just want to be around this man, right? That's who I want to be around. The people that I want to do business with are the same. I want people that are like, oh my God, this business is so great. I just want to do business with these people because they're just so great. Like, I am going to build that. And that not only gets me more business, but it also is going to attract the right employees. Guess who else? Here's the thing. Let's talk about employees. I'm going to get to a point where I can't keep up with the speed that I want to keep doing what I do. And so I'm going to need employees to help fill in the process. That's how that's going to have to go. Which means there are now going to be other human beings using their creative powers to create new plans. And that means that I'm passing the torch of the creative endeavor to someone else. Now, I'm willing to bet that other design firms, if they have employees, the employees sign a contract that says any intellectual things I think of while I'm working for you are your intellectual things. And I would like to have actually a special contract with my employees. I want them to acknowledge that the work they come up with in their brain is their intellectual property and that they give it away. I want those kinds of employees. I want the people who are on board with my culture and my mission to make the world a better place and not have this scarcity mentality that I created something, I came up with this idea and I need to keep it and I need to sell it again and it's mine. Mine. Like the seagulls. Seagulls from Finding Nemo. That's what I'm going to create. Those are the people that I want to attract. And I think that's super important, especially in the design industry, because as soon as somebody else realizes they have the mental capacity, which is like, in order to have somebody else do this for me and me pay them money as in my employee, they have to be capable of doing this. And as soon as people realize they're capable of doing this, they're going to realize that like, oh, if I go start my own business, I have the opportunity to get higher leverage on my time, more money per time, more freedom, etc. And so the real problem in my industry as I scale this is I need to keep people from doing that. I need to keep people in line with the culture and the mission and the growth and all of that. And part of that is going to mean that people understand their place, they understand their skills, they understand leverage, they understand business, they understand all of these things that are required to give them the opportunity that they have. I didn't have that understanding at my first engineering job, which is why I got fired. Because I didn't have an abundance mentality. I didn't understand what it took for that business to run, and I didn't understand my place in the business, and I acted otherwise. And so I learned a lot from that. And so I want to help other people not make that same mistake. And so that's what I'm after here. That's the journey that we're going on. So if this is inspiring to you, and at some point in the future you'd like plans to either get new plans drawn or for something you want to do, or like you want to look through what we got and take something and use it for yourself, I'm going to start building that empire right now when I'm done streaming. If I don't tell anybody about what I'm doing, no one's going to know. The biggest threat to your business is your obsolescence. I think that's a word. I think it means obsolete. Who knows? So anyway, that's what I'm going up to. Okay, so here's the value proposition. All right. Here's what I'm selling. I'm going to give everybody unlimited access to unlimited copies of all of the work that I have drawn that already exists. And that going into the future as well. I am going to share these ideas risk-free with all you guys. Tell your friends, your family, your coworkers, all you people. And here's a cool, I'm going to mention a little secret here. You can arbitrage my value with your friends and your network. That's right. If I draw a plan that's really great and is valuable, and you find it, or you find me, and you think I'm great, and you tell somebody else about me, and I'm great, guess what? If that someone else is your friend, and they find something from me, and it ends up being free or whatever, and if they get value from me, and you told them about me, guess who gets my free value? You. Called value arbitrage. Learned that one from Michael Sartain. Join Men of Action, folks. Okay? Your status, your value will go up in their eyes, and they will like you more if you introduce them to something valuable. Very simple. The connector. 3 ways of value arbitrage: being a connector, a suggester, or a content creator. Good stuff. Learned a lot from that man. I will vouch for that program. So you get value doing that. It's pretty cool. And of course, if anybody like wants plans drawn or tweaked or whatever from me, that's what I'm here for. I am building the machine and the system to draw these plans, to make these changes faster than everybody else, at a higher quality than everybody else, and you get a model unlike everybody else. It's just like, I'm still coming up with ideas. Who knows what I'm going to have a year from now? I'm excited to see. We're going to find out, and we're going to take it 1 week at a time. So if you want it, then just like, hey, hit me up. I'll make your changes. I'll make it happen. So also, if you just want one of these on a model that already exists and I've already created the plan, it costs me almost nothing to make it and ship it. So like high leverage on my time and a good price for you. Just saying. All right, folks. Hour and 20 minutes in. I'm telling you, it's been a week. It's been a week. This is not like a 30-minute episode from last week or whatever. This is real stuff. This is real stuff I'm learning. So there's a lot more work on my end now. I got to figure out a whole bunch of stuff, but like, boy, howdy, am I hopefully able to get you guys something valuable. So last week, I did those outreaches, those online things that worked okay. The in-person meetings went pretty well in terms of like scaling in, getting new people. Remember, in order to stream, in order to have this apartment, in order to afford plastic, I actually have to make money. Okay. And the thing that makes me money is drawing plans for people. So that's what I'm actually doing, some of the time. So if you want that, hit me up. But otherwise, tell your friends. And so last week I was doing that and doing the outreach stuff. And so I am not busy enough. Like I'm busy, but I'm not busy enough with like the actual drawing that I need to like hire someone yet or anything like that. I gotta blow it up first. And so the first stage is I want all of Texas to know that I exist, and I want all of Texas to know how great I am. It's the first stage we're in. So this week, action steps. All right, let's talk about action because that's more fun. All right, we got the Q&A call. That's Tuesdays, 7:30 p.m. Central Time. I usually post the link in my Telegram and my school server. If you want to join the school server, link is in the description below. Or just like send me an email or whatever. Go to my Instagram. You can always reach me on my Instagram. That is at sam.d.stevenson. I should start putting that in the description if it's not already in the description. Obviously, if I'm streaming, then I'm streaming on my Instagram right now, so you're already on my Instagram. But yeah, that's my Instagram. You can hit me up there. Yeah, I'm gonna keep making the models. People are either gonna wait for cool weather, or they're gonna pay the extra money that it would take to ship it with like cool packaging and stuff if they want it immediately, or like I'll go drop it off in person because like I'm in Texas, so like I can drive. So I'll do that. Keep up with the plans. Keep up with the actual business part that makes me money. And in addition to that, I am going to figure out this platform and method by which I can start sharing my stuff with you guys for free, because I see that as being the best way to make the whole world a better place. Everybody wins. So I don't want you paying me for something that I did 2 years ago. I don't want it. I want to earn my money. I want to earn it. Okay. So no more cold calls for now. We're going to keep doing the in-person meetings and sharing these physical models. I have picked this up and showed you like 50 times. I hope you know what it looks like by now. Okay. Also, I'm developing little improvements. So like Mr. Wyatt said at the beginning of this stream, let's see. Mass print. We're going to mass print a whole bunch of little like beds and cute furniture things that I can start giving away with these to make them more valuable. And we're going to do that. We're going to try to get these things. People like them. That's the idea. So we also got the Frame It Fridays on Friday at 7:30 p.m. Central. And on this desk right here, I take a plan that I've drawn in the past, put it on the desk, and I describe, hey, here's how I would look at this on a framing. Because I used to be a structural engineer. I used to do this all the time. Over like hundreds of houses. And I'm talking custom homes. 1 level, 2 level, split level, 3 stories, you name it, mansions. I can frame them in my head and I put it on paper how I imagine them being framed. And so I just show you guys how I do that. That's all it's for. If you want to understand how framing layout is done, that's all it is. It takes 30, 45 minutes, something like that, usually. Just highlighters and pens and paper at the scale. That's all. We got an IRL meetup, in real life meetup. Next one is happening September 28th. I believe that is 1 week from now. 28th? Nope. 2 more. 2 more Saturdays from now. And we are going to have a good time. The IRL meetups are designed for going around town, looking at the local construction, seeing how things are built, answering questions, just learning, having a good time, getting to be around construction because like it's a beautiful thing how we build this world. And learning about design. Of course, you got questions about that. We also eat great food because who doesn't like to eat great food? and we do some crazy fun things. We have a particularly fun thing in mind for this next one. Again, I'm not gonna let go of the secret, but it would involve the idea of hunting and implements and stuff. So it's gonna be a good time. Don't miss out. If you do miss out, don't worry. I'll post all of the fun stuff on my Instagram story so that you can see how much fun you're missing out on. And yeah, you'll just want to come to the next one that much more. That's the idea. And the next one will be October 26th. So don't worry. I'm going to try to keep doing this every month. If you can't make it, that's okay. Make smart money decisions. Come to the next one or the one after that. Or be like, you know what? I'm going to make one 6 months from now. I'll save up the money, whatever it is. Right. And I'm not even charging for this. Remember, because I don't want to make money from hanging out with you. I want to make money because I draw plans. That's what I want to do. And I want to use all my other time hanging out with people, have a good time. So that's what I'm doing. That's what we got going on. We got a quick shout out here. We got one more comment from Mr. Centurion. People talk about wealth and not having to work. The real freedom in life is working with the people you want to work with. Wow. That is some real wisdom from a farmer. Not to put you down or anything. Mr. Farmer here, Mr. Centurion here is running a farm right now, and he is doing a killer job. I got to meet him in person. So shout out to you, Centurion. Good to see you in the chat. Thank you for your support. And you are a wise man because you are correct. The real freedom in life is working with the people you want to work with. A slight note on that. You know, I think I'm going to get to a point, honestly, where I realize that like I can extract so much leverage out of the business I'm running that the time I've bought back, what do I do with it now? Well, I got to find the things that are meaningful to me. And don't be surprised when I end up with a tool belt on and a hammer. I'm just saying, it's probably going to happen because what I love doing is getting together with some dudes and building something. That is just so cool. So that's all I got, folks. Thanks for the support. Thanks for coming on the live. I just saw the comments from the Instagram side from A6A337. Is that 3D printer thing how much time it takes to print? It takes, if you're still watching this, it takes about, for a house like this, probably takes about an hour for the printer to make it. It's a pretty quick little thing. Honestly, here's a little thing. My printer is capable of printing way faster and moving faster than I can actually print. What's happening is I'm actually limited by my nozzle speed. I have a 0.4 millimeter nozzle. And so there's actually a limit to how much plastic I can push through that nozzle. And if I go faster, I have to push more plastic. I'm actually limited by my material and the nozzle size. So in case you wanted to know that. All right, folks, thanks for coming on. Let's take us out with some great music by the one and only fantastic supporter of the channel, The Green Observer. And let's start it off with some Larry Hahn, folks. Here we go.
That's the code.